Eric stood on the observation deck, staring down at the spinning planet below. The cities glimmered faintly in the night. Rivers shimmered like silver threads, and forests stretched endlessly, green and alive. It was beautiful, but it was dangerous. Every inch of this world was a warning. Every pulse of energy that ran through it reminded him that the border had the power to erase entire fleets. Laura joined him, her expression thoughtful. "Captain, do you think we'll ever understand it fully? The border? The planet? All of it?" Eric shook his head slowly. "I don't know. Maybe we never will. But we have to try. If we make one mistake, it could cost us everything. Again." Kevin Ross approached quietly, holding a small data pad. "Captain, there's something you need to see." Sensors picked up movement on the surface. Not human movement. Something else. Eric frowned. "Something else?"
What do you mean?
Kevin tapped the screen. A map of Earth appeared, showing faint pulses of energy moving in irregular patterns. These aren't cities. They aren't animals. They're alive, in a way. Not humans, not machines. Something else.
And they're moving toward the surface stations. Laura's eyes widened.
Like they're coming for us? Eric's jaw tightened. "I don't know, but we need to be ready. Earth has protected us so far, but this might test its limits." Claire Mason entered the observation room quietly. "Captain Nolan," she said, her voice calm, "you've seen part of what lies beneath the surface. You understand a little about the border. But there are forces beyond even our control. Forces that will move when disturbed. You are about to see one of them." Eric's stomach tightened. "One of them? What are you talking about?" Claire gestured toward the screen. The energy pulses Kevin had pointed out began to converge. Bright threads of light moved like rivers beneath the planet's surface, then surged upward, piercing the crust in sudden flashes. The humans on the station moved quickly, adjusting equipment, monitoring readings, but they remained calm, almost as if they expected this. Laura whispered, "It's alive."
"The planet, it's reacting?"
Claire nodded. "Yes, the border responds. It is not just a line in space. It is part of the planet itself. It watches, it senses, it decides. Your fleet crossed it. Your enemies pursue you. Now you are in its domain." Eric clenched his fists. "Then what do we do? How do we survive it? You observe," Claire said simply. "You follow instructions. You adapt. That is the only way. If you resist, you die. If you follow, you live. That is all we can promise." The pulses on the surface intensified. Lights flickered in cities below, machines hummed and powered down, and for a moment the station itself trembled. Eric could feel it through the floor, through the walls, a quiet but undeniable force. Kevin turned to him, voice tight. "Captain, this is bigger than anything I've ever seen. This isn't just Earth. This is something else, something alive."
"And it's aware of us."
Eric nodded slowly.
"I know."
"And if it's aware of us, then it will judge us. We have to be careful. Every move, every choice matters now." Claire guided them to a tactical room filled with screens and instruments. Humans monitored energy flows, pulse rates, and tectonic movements. The alien crew realized they were witnessing something beyond comprehension, a planet that could think, respond, and protect itself in ways no technology could match. Eric turned to Laura. "This is the test. The border erased our fleet before. Now it's awake. We have to survive, no matter what. Laura's hands shook slightly. And if we fail? Eric's voice was firm. Then we die. There is no other option. We follow. Crossing Earth's border cost them everything. Their alien armada was gone forever. Sci-fi Captain Eric Nolan stood at the bridge of the celestial dawn, staring out into the blackness of space. The stars stretched endlessly, small points of light in the infinite darkness. Far below, the blue and green of Earth shone like a jewel. He had never seen anything like it. So calm, so quiet, so alive. He had been a captain for over 20 years, leading fleets across hostile space. He had faced storms that could tear a ship apart, alien attacks that had wiped out entire colonies, and political betrayals that could destroy alliances in a day. Yet nothing had prepared him for what he saw now. Behind him, the alien armada stretched across the void. Hundreds of ships, sleek and powerful, their dark metal hulls glinting with energy. They had survived countless battles, fleeing from enemies that left death in their wake. Every ship had a story, every soldier a past filled with loss and hardship. Yet, despite all that, they had chosen to follow Eric here, across the border of the unknown, hoping for a brief moment of safety. He felt a hand on his shoulder. Laura Benson, his first officer, stood silently beside him. She was one of the few he trusted completely. Her sharp eyes scanned the stars as though she could see more than just light and darkness. "Captain," she said softly, "maybe we shouldn't cross. Maybe this is not the right place." Eric did not answer immediately. He could feel the tension in the ship, in his crew, in the silent hum of energy that flowed through the corridors. They were all waiting for his word. Every life aboard the Celestial Dawn depended on his decision. He turned slowly to her, his face hard but calm. "We have no choice, Laura. Our enemies are close behind. If we stop now, we die." Laura nodded, though her expression remained worried. "I understand, but Earth, we know nothing about it." Claire guided them back to the observation deck. "You will see more in time. The planet and the border are patient. They do not act unless provoked, but they are aware. They remember. They judge." "You are living because you are cautious. For now." Kevin spoke quietly. "Captain, we are small. But we survived. Maybe this is a chance to rebuild. Even if we cannot have our fleet, maybe we can start over, here, under their protection." Eric nodded slowly.
Yes, but we cannot forget.
"The hunters are still out there. They will find us eventually. And when they do, the border will act. But we must be ready. We must learn everything we can about this world and about the border if we hope to survive their return." Days turned into weeks. The alien crew worked closely with humans, learning about the planet, about its energy flows, and about the ways the border reacted to threats. Eric realized that survival required more than strength or weapons. It required patience, understanding, and respect. The humans taught them slowly, guiding them without rushing. Laura observed quietly one evening, "I've never seen humans like this. They are calm, controlled, but also powerful. It's like they are part of the planet, and the planet is part of them." Eric nodded. "Yes. And that is the lesson. Survival is not about weapons."
It is about understanding, about knowing the rules and living within them.
That is why we survived the Armada's destruction. That is why we are alive now. Kevin added quietly, "And maybe, just maybe, we have a chance to rebuild." Not as an armada, not as a fleet, but as survivors, learning from this world, learning from them. That is our hope. Eric looked down at the planet, glowing softly below. Hope is all we have left. And knowledge. And caution. If we fail in either, we die. The only way forward is survival and understanding. Weeks later, the alien crew was allowed to visit Earth's surface under supervision. They walked among forests, rivers, and mountains, marveling at the power beneath their feet. Energy pulsed in the air, in the soil, in every living thing. It was alive, aware, and waiting. Claire guided them carefully. You see now why the border exists. You see now why your armada was erased. Earth does not act blindly. It acts with purpose. It protects itself. You are here because you survived, and because you are small enough to be allowed.
Laura whispered,
Captain,
It's more than we imagined, more than we feared. This world, it is alive in ways we cannot fully understand. Eric nodded slowly.
Yes, and that is why we survive.
Not because we are strong, not because we are clever, but because we respect it, and because we learn. That is the only way forward. Above them, the stars waited, silent and infinite. The hunters still roamed the galaxy, searching for the remnants of the Armada. But on Earth, the aliens were safe. For now. Safe under the watchful living power of a planet that had erased fleets, guided survival, and waited patiently for the right moment to reveal its true strength. Eric took a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything they had lost, everything they had survived, and everything still to come. The border had cost them their armada, their freedom, and their past. But it had also given them a chance to survive, a chance to learn, a chance to begin again. And in that chance, Eric Nolan, Laura Benson, Kevin Ross, and the last survivors of the erased Armada realized that Earth was not just a planet, it was a force. A guardian, a living power beyond imagination, and as long as they respected it, they had a future. Crossing this border could be dangerous. Eric took a deep breath and turned back to the view. He could see the faint glow of Earth's atmosphere, the way sunlight reflected off oceans and clouds. For a moment, he almost felt hope. Perhaps this world could be a refuge, a place to rest before they continued their flight. Perhaps it could be their sanctuary. "Prepare the fleet," Eric commanded. "We cross the border. Slow and steady. No sudden moves. Stay in formation." His voice was firm, but inside he felt a knot of unease. Something in his gut told him this was more than just a border. Something told him that the warnings he had ignored for years were not empty threats. The fleet moved as one. Ships glided through space with a grace that belied their size, engines glowing softly. The air in the celestial dawn was tense. Every officer, every soldier, watched the stars with a mixture of awe and fear. Captain Eric walked through the bridge, checking on each station. Young soldiers glanced at him nervously, their hands trembling slightly as they monitored systems and communications. He stopped at the communications console, where Kevin Ross, a young officer with an eager face, worked quickly. "Anything from Earth?" Eric asked. Kevin shook his head. "Nothing yet, sir." No response. But there's something strange. Eric raised an eyebrow. "Strange?" Kevin swallowed. "The sensors, they're picking up energy readings. Something powerful, but it doesn't match any technology I know." "It's almost
alive.
Eric frowned, a deep line forming on his forehead. Alive? Kevin nodded, but could not explain further. The readings flickered and pulsed, faintly, like a heartbeat. Something about it made Eric's chest tighten. Laura came over, glancing at the readings herself. "Captain, I don't like this. It's too different, too unnatural. Maybe we should wait? Maybe we should retreat?" Eric shook his head. "We don't have the luxury to wait, Lara. The hunters are too close. We've seen the worlds they destroy. We've lost too much already." He turned back to the viewport. Earth was getting closer. The planet's atmosphere shimmered with light, clouds swirling in patterns that seemed alive. He could see the landmasses, the oceans, the mountains. Everything seemed peaceful, yet a small voice in his mind whispered a warning. The fleet crossed the invisible line. At first, nothing happened. The stars remained the same, the ships gliding forward, the engines humming. Then a soft pulse ran through the sensors, a wave of energy that made every officer freeze.
Captain, Kevin said, his voice trembling. The fleet, it's disappearing.
Eric's eyes widened in disbelief. "What do you mean, disappearing?" One by one, the ships behind them flickered. The engines' glow dimmed. Hulls shimmered, as if made of glass, then vanished entirely. There was no explosion, no sound, no trace of debris, just nothing. "Impossible," Laura whispered. "That can't be all of them?" Eric gritted his teeth, his heart pounding. All of them. He stared at the empty space where the Armada had been, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Hundreds of ships, thousands of lives, all gone in an instant. The silence of space now felt heavier, almost suffocating. Kevin's voice shook. What did this?" Eric did not answer. He could not. His mind was racing, trying to make sense of the impossible. Had it been a trap? Some weapon beyond their understanding? He looked again at the planet below. Now, Earth. It had not moved. It had not attacked. Yet somehow it had erased an entire fleet. Laura stepped closer, her voice barely audible. "Captain, what do we do now?" Eric took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "We survive. That's all. We survive and find out what just happened." Kevin's hands moved quickly over the console.
Sensors show nothing. The energy, it's gone.
It's like it absorbed everything. Eric nodded slowly. Then we're alone. Completely alone. He walked back to the viewport, staring at Earth. For the first time in his life, he felt fear that was deeper than anything he had known. Not fear of enemies, not fear of death, fear of the unknown. Fear of a power so great that it could erase an armada in a single moment. Laura joined him, her hand brushing against his arm. "Captain, maybe this world is not what we think it is. Maybe we crossed a line we shouldn't have crossed." Eric clenched his fists. "I know, but we have no choice now. We're trapped. We can't return. The hunters are still out there, and we are the last survivors." He turned to Kevin. "Open a channel to the planet. We need answers. We need to know if this is a world that will help us or destroy us." Kevin nodded and activated the communications array. A moment later, a signal appeared on the screen. A human face filled the display. A man with short brown hair and a firm expression stared at them. His eyes were sharp, and there was something in them that made Eric feel small and uncertain. "This is Commander Jason Hale of Earth Defense," the man said. his voice calm but authoritative. "Unidentified vessel, state your intentions." Eric swallowed. He had faced countless adversaries, but never had he felt so powerless. We did not mean to cross your border. We are fleeing from enemies. Please, we seek asylum." Jason's expression did not change. "You crossed a restricted line. We do not allow trespassers." Eric felt anger rise in him, a sharp edge cutting through his fear.
We had no idea. You just erased an entire fleet.
"My people, they're gone." Jason's face remained steady, almost unreadable. "You were warned. You were told to stay out. Your Armada's disappearance is not our doing. It is the border itself." Eric froze.
The border? You mean your defenses? Jason's voice lowered. Earth has not been unprotected for a long time.
Your Armada entered a space it should not have entered. Eric felt a chill run down his spine. Then,
They're gone forever?
Jason did not answer immediately. The screen went silent for a few moments before he spoke again.
You are the last survivors. Do not underestimate what you are facing.
Earth is different, and the border is alive. Laura stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Alive? What does that mean?" Jason looked directly at them, his eyes piercing. "You crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. And now you must survive if you can." The screen went dark. Eric turned back to the viewport, staring at the planet. He had crossed the border, and in doing so, lost everything. His fleet, his allies, his future, all gone. "Captain," Laura whispered, "what do we do now?" Eric's jaw tightened. He knew there were no easy answers. We survive. That's all we can do. And maybe Earth can help us. But we have to be careful. We have no more ships, no more soldiers. "Just us." Kevin's voice broke the silence. Sir.
What about the hunters? They're still out there.
They'll find us eventually. Eric's hand rested on the railing. Then we learn. We adapt, and we hope that Earth is not the end, but the beginning. Above the planet, the celestial dawn floated silently, alone in orbit. Below, Earth turned slowly, unaware, or perhaps all too aware, of the last alien ship that had crossed its border. And above, the stars waited. Quiet, cold, and infinite. The celestial dawn drifted silently above Earth. The ship felt smaller than ever, surrounded by the vast emptiness of space and the impossibly bright blue of the planet below. Captain Eric Nolan stood at the bridge, staring at the screens that once showed a fleet of ships. Now there was only emptiness behind them, the void where the Armada had been erased. Laura Benson remained at his side, her face pale. "Captain," she said, her voice low. "They're gone. All of them. What do we even do now?" Eric shook his head slowly, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He had led countless missions in his life, but nothing like this had ever happened. "We survive," he said firmly. "We keep moving. That is all we can do." Kevin Ross, the communications officer, broke the silence. "Captain, the planet is sending another signal. It's coming directly at us. Strong, but it's different this time."
It doesn't feel like a threat exactly. Eric nodded.
Put it through. The screen flickered, and a new human face appeared. This time it was a woman, her expression calm, but her eyes sharp and calculating.
She wore a clean, simple uniform that gave her an air of authority. "I am Claire Mason," she said. "I am the liaison for unusual arrivals. You are in our space, uninvited."
Explain yourself. Eric swallowed.
He had faced hostile races before, but there was something about these humans that made him hesitate. They were not afraid. They were not panicked. And yet, the power behind their words made his chest tighten.
We are refugees, Eric said.
Our fleet?
It was destroyed. We were fleeing enemies.
We meant no harm. We are asking for shelter, for asylum. Claire studied him quietly. Her eyes moved over the crew, visible on the bridge screens. She seemed to weigh every word before speaking.
"Your armada has already been diminished," she said carefully.
"I can see that. What you have left is only one ship. You have crossed the border. That is not a small thing. You have triggered events you do not understand." Laura stepped forward. "Events? What events? What are you talking about?" Claire's face remained calm, but her voice was steady, firm. "You saw what happened to your fleet. That was not an accident. That was not a weapon. It was the border, the boundary of our world. Crossing it is dangerous. Crossing it changes things." Kevin's hands moved over his console quickly. "Captain," she said, "changes things. What does that mean?" Eric rubbed his forehead. "I don't know, but it doesn't sound good," Claire continued, her tone gentle but unyielding. "You are now in orbit above a planet that does not tolerate intruders, but you are alive. You may stay under conditions. You will answer questions. You will follow rules. You will not leave until cleared." Eric felt a surge of anger. "You erased my fleet. Thousands of lives gone. And now you want me to follow rules?" Claire did not flinch. "We did not erase your fleet. The border did. Your people were not careful."
Your fleet was in danger the moment it crossed. You are here because the border allowed it.
That is all. Lara looked at Eric, fear in her eyes. "Captain, what is she saying? What is the border?" Eric shook his head. He didn't have answers. The truth was stranger than anything he had imagined. "I don't know, but we can't fight it. Not now. Not ever." Claire's image softened slightly. "You are alone. You are small. But you may survive if you obey. That is the first lesson of Earth. Survival is the first step. Learning comes next." Eric's hands clenched on the railing. "Learning about what?" "The border," Claire said, "and the planet itself. There are things you cannot see. Things older than your people, older than your enemies. You have glimpsed a small part of it. It is enough. That is all you need to know, for now."
Eric turned to Laura. "We have to comply."
"We have no other choice. We are trapped here. The planet can destroy us if it wants, and if we leave, the hunters will find us. We are alone, completely alone." Lara nodded. "Then we follow. But what do we do first?" Eric looked at the glowing blue of Earth. "We dock. We meet them face to face. We find out what they want. We learn everything we can. And then we survive." Kevin hesitated. "Captain, I don't know if I can handle this. We've seen what the border does. And now we are being told we must trust it?" Eric placed a hand on Kevin's shoulder. "Trust is not the word.
We have to accept it. That is all.
If we fight, we die. If we submit, we live." For now, that is enough. The celestial dawn began its slow descent into Earth's orbit. The crew moved with careful precision, checking every system, every engine, every life support line. The ship felt fragile, like it could break at any moment. Yet, it moved steadily toward the unknown. When they reached a designated docking station, a massive human installation orbiting above Earth, they were greeted by soldiers and envoys. Humans moved with precision and calm. They were armed, yes, but not hostile. They observed the alien crew as if studying them carefully. Claire Mason was waiting. She stepped forward, her uniform neat, her expression unreadable. Eric felt his chest tighten. She was calm, but there was power in her calm. Power he could not understand. "Captain Eric Nolan," she said, "you and your crew are here under our protection temporarily. You will follow instructions. You will answer questions. You will not attempt to leave this station. Understood?" Eric nodded slowly. "Understood? Understood."
But I have questions.
"You will have time," Claire said. "For now, you rest. Tomorrow, you answer." The crew was escorted to living quarters. Simple, clean rooms with basic amenities. It was far from comfortable, but far from dangerous. It was strange. They were treated as prisoners, yet not as enemies. That night, Eric could not sleep. He walked along the observation deck, staring at the planet below. It was breathtaking. Mountains, oceans, forests, deserts, all spinning slowly under the sun's light. Laura joined him quietly. "You think they are going to help us?" she asked. Eric did not answer immediately. He was thinking. "I don't know. But we have no choice but to try. We have to understand the rules of this world if we are going to survive."
Laura leaned against the railing. And if the rules are impossible?
Eric's jaw tightened. "Then we make them possible. We survive. That is all we can do." The next morning they were led to a large chamber where humans waited to question them. A dozen humans, all in uniforms, all calm, all observing. Claire Mason stood at the front. "Captain Nolan," she said, "we need to know who you are, where you come from, and why your fleet crossed into our space. Answer carefully. Do not lie. Do not omit details." "The border has..." Eric swallowed. "We are refugees. Our empire is collapsing. Our enemies hunt us. We came here because we had nowhere else to go. We did not mean to cross your border. We had no choice." Claire nodded slowly. "And your fleet? The hundreds of ships you commanded? All gone?" Eric felt the anger rise again, but he forced it down. "Yes. All gone. Destroyed. Vanished. We do not know how it happened." Claire's face remained calm. "The border is older than your fleet, older than your empire. It is not something that can be fought. You crossed it, and the consequence was inevitable." Laura stepped forward. "But why? Why erase them? Why not destroy us too?" Claire tilted her head slightly. "You were lucky. Or perhaps it is not luck. You are the last survivors because the border permits you to live. That is all. For now." Kevin's voice shook. "Permits us? You mean the border decides who lives?" "Yes. And who dies. It is not conscious in the way you understand, but it is aware. It reacts. It protects. It contains. Crossing it is not something you can do lightly.
Eric's stomach twisted. So this world?
It's alive? Claire's eyes were steady. It is alive enough. And it is powerful enough. The Armada you lost, they were erased because they were too large, too threatening. You were small enough, and they allowed you to survive. That is all. Laura's voice was barely a whisper. And what now? Eric's hands clenched. Now, we learn. We understand. We survive. That is the only way we keep living. Claire's expression softened slightly.
You will stay here. You will be watched. You will answer questions.
And you will follow the rules. If you do not, the consequences will be final. Eric nodded. We understand.
But I need to know one thing. What is this world hiding?
What lies beneath the surface? Claire looked at him carefully. You have glimpsed only a fraction. The rest you will see in time. For now, that is enough. The alien crew was led to quarters once again, but this time the weight of understanding pressed upon them. They were safe for now. But the fear of the unknown, the power of the border, and the mystery of Earth hung over them like a shadow. Eric watched the planet turn below. They had crossed the border. They had lost everything, and yet, somehow, they were still alive. Somehow they still had a chance, and above them the stars waited, silent, indifferent, and infinite. The celestial dawn remained docked at the orbiting station, quiet and still. The alien crew moved through the corridors, their movements cautious. Every step, every glance felt heavy with tension. They were alive, yes, but only because they had crossed a border that few had survived. The loss of the Armada still hung over them like a shadow, dark and unyielding. Captain Eric Nolan walked down the main corridor, flanked by Laura Benson and Kevin Ross. The crew followed at a distance, wary but obedient. Their quarters had been simple and clean, but it was not comfort they sought. Comfort could not erase the memory of hundreds of ships, hundreds of lives erased in an instant. Claire Mason met them at the docking exit, her posture calm and authoritative. Captain Nolan, we will escort you to a secure observation area. You will meet with the council. They will answer your questions. Some of them. Eric nodded, his expression tense. Lead the way. They moved through corridors filled with humans, all quiet, all moving with purpose. The alien crew noted the lack of panic. Every human seemed to know exactly what they were doing, and none showed fear or hesitation. The precision was almost unnatural. Eric wondered if they had ever faced danger in the way his people had, or if they were protected by something he could not yet understand. The observation room was vast and circular, with a large viewport showing Earth below. The planet looked peaceful, serene, almost as if it had never known war. Yet, Eric knew better. The humans were not as powerless as they seemed. That much had been proven when the Armada disappeared. A dozen humans awaited them inside the room, seated around a table. At the center stood Claire Mason, her eyes sharp, watching every movement. Eric felt a strange sense of unease. These people were calm, but he sensed a quiet strength that he could not challenge. Captain Nolan, Claire said, you have questions. You want to understand. We will give you answers, but only as far as you are ready to hear them. Eric took a deep breath. Why does Earth have this power? Why does the border erase ships? Why did my fleet disappear? Claire's eyes narrowed slightly. You are asking questions too quickly. You want answers to things you cannot yet understand. Earth has existed for thousands of cycles, and it has learned. It has learned how to protect itself. Your fleet was a threat, not because of your weapons, but because of numbers. The border evaluates. The border responds. Your fleet crossed too quickly. The result was inevitable. Laura stepped forward. Evaluate, respond. The border, it's alive? How can a planet be alive? Claire's expression softened slightly. Not alive as you think. Not in the way your biology understands, but it senses.
It reacts. It contains.
It protects. You have seen a glimpse of it. That is all you need to survive. Eric frowned. Then why leave us alive? Why not erase this ship too? You are small enough. You have a chance.
That is all. Claire paused, then added. But your enemies are still out there.
They are hunting. You have nowhere else to go. Earth may be the only place left where you can survive. Kevin Ross's voice trembled. Captain, they know about the hunters? About the fleets chasing us? Eric nodded. They do. And that means we are trapped. Claire gestured for them to sit. I will tell you what you can understand for now. The border does not exist to destroy. It exists to protect Earth, has had to protect itself before, from invaders, from species that sought to conquer. The lessons are old. The rules are simple. Survival comes first. Everything else comes after. Laura's brow furrowed. And these rules, what are they? You will learn, Claire said, in time. For now you obey. You answer questions. You do not attempt to leave. And you do not challenge the border. If you do, the consequences are permanent. Eric's jaw tightened. He wanted to ask more, but he realized that this was a conversation that would take time. He had lost his fleet, and the humans had all the control now. For the first time in his life, he felt truly powerless. The next hours passed in tense silence. The alien crew explored the station under supervision. Humans guided them through corridors, showing them living quarters, observation decks, and work areas. Every step was monitored, every movement calculated. Kevin whispered to Eric as they walked, "Captain, this place is too clean, too controlled. It feels like nothing can go wrong here. But it also feels like nothing is accidental. Every person, every machine, every light, it is exactly where it should be." Eric nodded slowly. "I know, and that is what scares me. They are calm, but they are not weak."
We need to understand them or we will be trapped forever.
That evening, Eric and Laura were led to a small observation room overlooking a forested area on Earth. From orbit, the planet looked beautiful. Mountains, rivers, and vast green fields stretched beyond the horizon. The sunlight reflected off oceans in a way that made the surface shimmer like glass. Claire entered the room quietly. "You want to know what lies beneath the surface?"
You will see fragments, not the whole truth.
"The full truth is not for outsiders, but you may understand enough to survive." Eric's eyes narrowed. "Show us." Claire nodded. She gestured, and the observation screen shifted, showing patterns beneath the forests, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains. Strange energy flows, pulsing like veins of light, moving across the planet in patterns that Eric could not comprehend.
What is that? Laura asked, her voice shaking slightly. Life.
Not just human life, not just biological life. The planet itself has a consciousness of sorts. It senses. It reacts. It contains energy beyond anything your fleet has encountered. It can protect itself, and it can punish. Kevin's jaw dropped. You mean the planet is alive? Claire's eyes were steady. Alive enough to erase fleets. Alive enough to protect its inhabitants. You crossed a line, and your fleet was too large, too threatening. The border responded. You survived because the border permits small threats.
Large threats are neutralized.
Eric's fists clenched. And you humans, you live with this? You let it happen? Claire smiled faintly. We are a part of it. We understand it. We do not fear it.
We obey its rules.
That is the only way to survive. Laura shook her head. Then, all this time we thought humans were weak, that we could conquer or flee or hide. But you are something else, something stronger than we imagined. Claire nodded. Strength is not in weapons. Strength is in understanding. And survival. You have neither fully yet. That is why you are here. That is why you were allowed to survive. Eric exhaled slowly, feeling a strange mixture of fear and awe. His armada was gone. His enemies were still hunting. And now he faced a power beyond comprehension. He realized the enormity of their situation. Captain, Kevin whispered, if we can survive here, we can rebuild. Maybe not as an armada, but maybe we can learn, adapt, and survive. That's all that matters. Eric looked at him. Yes, survival. That is all we have left. But we need more than that. We need understanding. We need knowledge. And we need allies. Without these, we are nothing. The days passed slowly. The alien crew was kept under close observation. They were given access to limited areas of the station, allowed to interact with humans, but always under supervision. They learned small details: how the humans communicated, how they monitored the planet, how they reacted to threats. Eric noticed one thing above all. The humans never panicked, even when the fleet was gone, even when aliens arrived unexpectedly. They were calm. Every action calculated, every decision precise. It was as if they were part of the planet itself, or the planet was part of them. Laura commented quietly one evening, "Captain, this is unlike anything we've ever seen. They don't just live here. They exist with the planet. It's like they are one." Eric nodded slowly. And that is the lesson. Survival is not in fleets, or weapons, or speed. Survival is understanding the world you are in and respecting the rules it sets. That is the only way we survive. One night, Eric stood at the observation deck, staring down at Earth. The forest stretched endlessly, the rivers sparkled like silver, and the cities glowed faintly with human life. The planet was beautiful, but it was also terrifying. The power it held was unimaginable. Lara joined him. "Captain, do you think we can survive here?" Eric exhaled slowly. "I don't know, but we have to try."
We have no other choice. If we make mistakes, the border will punish us.
If we fail to understand, we die. The only way forward is learning and survival. Kevin joined them quietly. "Captain, I've been thinking."
Maybe this is not a punishment. Maybe this is a chance.
A chance to rebuild, to start over, to survive where no one else could. Maybe this is hope. Eric looked at the two officers and nodded. Hope? Yes. That is all we have left. But hope alone is not enough. We need knowledge.
We need allies. And we need caution.
Every decision matters now. The alien crew spent the next days learning, observing, and adjusting. The humans never rushed them, never threatened them unnecessarily, but every interaction reminded them that Earth was powerful, intelligent, and far beyond what they had expected. Eric realized that the border had not just destroyed his fleet, it had forced him and his people to change, to adapt, to learn, to survive. And above Earth, the stars waited, cold and infinite, while the last survivors of an erased Armada prepared to face a world far stronger and stranger than they had ever imagined. The days on the station passed slowly for the crew of the Celestial Dawn. Captain Eric Nolan, Laura Benson, and Kevin Ross had settled into a routine, though it was not comfort they knew. Every moment carried tension, every decision carried weight. They were alive, yes, but only because Earth allowed it, and that knowledge weighed heavily on them. We learn. We survive. Hours passed as the pulses moved across the planet. The humans worked silently, coordinating and monitoring. Eric watched, understanding slowly that Earth was more than a home. It was a weapon, a shield, and a living force. The border was not just a line. It was a system, alive and reactive. Suddenly, a new reading appeared on the monitors. The pulses converged near a mountain range. Bright light shot from the ground into the sky, and a massive structure, invisible until now, shimmered into view. It was enormous, alien in design, yet perfectly integrated into the Earth below. It was as if the planet had hidden it for centuries, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Laura gasped, What is that?" Claire's eyes were calm but intense. "That is one of the border's guardians. It awakens only when a threat approaches. Your Armada was too large, too dangerous. They were erased. Survived. But now you will see what protects this world." Eric felt a chill. "A guardian? Like a weapon?" Claire nodded. "Yes, but it is not mindless. It is part of the border. It senses."
You are alive because it allows you to be. But your enemies, they would not survive it.
Kevin whispered, "Captain, do you think our enemies will find us here?" Eric's eyes narrowed. "If they do, the border will handle them. That is the only hope we have. We cannot fight them. Not now."
We survive, and we trust the border. The Guardian moved, immense and glowing, stretching from the mountains to the sky.
Its energy pulses interacted with the station's instruments, creating waves of light that shimmered across the screens. Eric watched, mesmerized and terrified. Laura whispered, "Captain, it's beautiful, but deadly. It could erase us if it wanted, and that is why we survive by respecting it. We do not challenge it. We do not anger it. We follow the rules, and we live."